Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive into a story that's
Colder than a...
colder than a polar bear's nose, but way more interesting than watching ice melt.
Oh, yeah.
The Alaska Purchase.
Yeah.
You've probably heard like Seward's Icebox or Seward's Folly.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 1867, folks thought William Seward had just completely lost his mind buying a giant freezer from Russia.
I mean, who wouldn't want a giant freezer?
Could you imagine the headlines back then?
Oh, absolutely.
U.S. trades millions for ice polar bears. Not included.
Yeah, they're probably laughing all the way to the bank. Well, maybe not quite.
Maybe not, but it's funny to think about.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. What's fascinating is how everyone at the time was just fixated on this image of Alaska as a frozen wasteland.
Right.
They were so busy laughing at the ice, they completely missed the potential gold mine underneath. It's like judging a book by its frosty cover, you know?
It's like buying a timeshare in Antarctica and expecting a tropical vacation.
Exactly.
But speaking of missed opportunities, let's talk about Russia for a second. Why on earth would they sell Alaska?
Oh, that's a good question.
Was it just like a giant get rid of this thing yard sale?
Well, it wasn't quite that simple.
Okay.
Remember, this was a time of intense geopolitical maneuvering.
Right.
Russia was feeling the pressure, especially from Great Britain, and saw the U.S. as a less threatening neighbor.
Oh, okay.
Selling Alaska was a strategic move, even if it turned out to be a pretty bad one in hindsight.
So they basically traded away a potential gold mine for some temporary peace of mind.
Yeah, you could say that.
Talk about a short-sighted real estate deal.
Absolutely.
But back to Seward. He paid a cool $7.2 million for this useless chunk of ice.
Wow.
That's like paying full price for a broken iPhone, hoping Apple will magically release a fix-it-all update.
And yet, in a way, Seward did get his update, just not in the way anyone expected.
Oh, really? How so?
The Klondike Gold Rush at the end of the 19th century turned Alaska into a frenzy of get-rich-quick dreams. Suddenly, everyone was scrambling for a piece of the action, including those who had mocked Seward mercilessly just a few years earlier.
It's like the universe playing a giant told you so prank on all the doubters.
Yeah, you could say that.
I bet Seward was sipping lemonade on a sunny beach somewhere, watching the chaos unfold and thinking, see, I told you there was gold in those glaciers.
Well, we can't know for sure what Seward was thinking.
Right.
But the gold rush certainly validated his vision in a dramatic way.
Yeah.
And that was just the beginning. The discovery of oil in the 20th century, particularly at Prudhoe Bay, solidified Alaska's importance as a major energy source.
So from frozen punchline to global powerhouse, Alaska's story is like a real-life underdog tale.
It really is.
And Seward, he's the unexpected hero who saw the potential in what everyone else dismissed as a giant ice cube.
Absolutely, he was ahead of his time. And that's where the story takes a turn that might surprise you.
Really?
We're going to shift gears from frozen landscapes to the world of poetry slams. It might seem like a giant leap, but trust me, there's a fascinating connection here.
Okay, I'm intrigued. You're telling me there's a link between buying a chunk of ice
Yeah.
and people rhyming on stage?
Yeah.
I'm all ears.
Think about it. The Alaska Purchase was initially ridiculed and underestimated, just like many aspiring poets are.
Right.
They pour their heart out on stage only to be met with crickets, or worse, polite applause.
Ouch.
It's almost as painful as being called Seward's Folly. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I can see the parallel. But how do poets go from those awkward open mic nights to, actually captivating an audience? Is there some secret formula for turning rhyming rants into poetic gold?
Well, there's no magic wand.
Okay.
But the article we're diving into offers some pretty insightful tips.
Yeah.
One of them is all about charmingly outsmarting your audience.
Okay.
It's like setting a trap with words, making them think they know what's coming, and then bam, hitting them with an unexpected twist.
Okay, I'm picturing a poem about a cute, fluffy bunny that suddenly turns into a fire-breathing dragon. Is that the kind of surprise we're talking about?
It's about taking a familiar image or idea and turning it on its head. Think about how Seward saw potential in a frozen wasteland.
Yeah.
Poets do the same thing with language, finding unexpected beauty and meaning in everyday words.
So it's like those optical illusions where you see one thing,
Yes.
but then suddenly it shifts into something completely different.
Exactly.
Mind-bending poetry. I like it.
It's about keeping the audience engaged, making them think, making them feel something they didn't expect. And that brings us to the next tip, the power of shameless exaggeration.
Okay.
It's about taking a simple idea and turning it up to 11, embracing the ridiculous, the absurd, the downright outrageous.
So instead of saying, I had a bad day,
Right.
I should say something like, my day was so bad, even the squirrels were throwing acorns at me in disgust.
Now you're getting it. The article uses this hilarious example of a raccoon stealing a granola bar in the Alaskan wilderness,
Okay.
comparing it to the goddamn Batman of the Arctic. It's about taking the ordinary and transforming it into something extraordinary through the sheer force of your imagination.
Raccoon Batman.
I love it.
It's like Alaska itself. From seemingly barren wasteland to a treasure trove of resources and strategic importance. Who knew those icy mountains held so much potential?
And that's the beauty of these tips. They're not just about writing poetry. They're about approaching life with a sense of curiosity, wonder, and a willingness to see beyond the obvious. Just like Seward saw past the ice and snow to the potential beneath,
Yeah.
these techniques encourage us to dig deeper, to explore the unexpected, and to uncover the hidden gems that are all around us.
So we've got surprise, we've got exaggeration. What's the final ingredient in this recipe for poetic success?
Yeah.
How do we make sure those poems stick with the audience long after the mic is off?
That's where the ending comes in.
Okay.
It's not enough to just tell a story. You have to leave your audience shook.
Shook.
The article uses the analogy of a campfire story that takes a dark, unexpected turn, leaving the listener with a lingering sense of unease. It's about that final punch that resonates on an emotional or intellectual level.
It's like that moment when you realize the cute, fluffy bunny was actually a vampire bunny all along.
Exactly.
Talk about a plot twist.
It's about crafting an ending that makes the audience think, whoa, I didn't see that coming.
Right.
But it's not just about shock value, it's about leaving them with a sense of wonder, a question to ponder, a feeling that stays with them long after the poem is over.
It's like that feeling you get when you look at a map of Alaska and realize just how massive and strategically important it is. You start to understand why Seward was so determined to acquire it, even if everyone else thought he was crazy.
Precisely. It's about seeing beyond the surface, recognizing the potential that others miss, and having the courage to follow your vision even when the world tells you you're wrong.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired.
Hey.
I might even dust off my old rhyming dictionary and give this poetry slam thing a try.
You should.
Who knows? Maybe I'll discover my inner Seward and write the next epic poem about a raccoon Batman defending the Alaskan wilderness.
And that brings us to another crucial element of the Alaska Purchase story, its strategic significance during times of war.
Okay.
From World War II to the Cold War, Alaska's location and resources played a vital role in shaping global events.
Wait, so Alaska wasn't just a gold rush and oil boom?
Yep.
It was like a strategic chess piece in the game of global power.
Exactly.
Tell me more.
Absolutely. Remember how Russia felt threatened by Great Britain?
Yeah.
Well, during the 20th century, that threat shifted to the Soviet Union.
Okay.
Alaska, with its proximity to Russia and its vast, rugged terrain, became a key location for military bases, radar stations, and intelligence-gathering operations.
So Alaska went from being a punchline to a front line.
That's one way to put it.
That's a pretty impressive grow-up.
It is. And it highlights another important parallel between the Alaska Purchase and the world of poetry, slams the element of strategy. Just like Seward had to think long-term and anticipate future challenges,
Right.
poets have to carefully craft their words and performance to create the desired impact on the audience.
So it's not just about rhyming words.
No.
It's about choosing the right words, the right tone, the right pacing to create a truly powerful and memorable experience.
Exactly. And that brings us to the heart of this deep dive. The power of seeing beyond the obvious, whether it's the potential of a seemingly worthless piece of land or the potential of a struggling poet to move an audience with their words.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners today? How can we apply this Seward mindset to our own lives?
I think it starts with cultivating a sense of curiosity and a willingness to challenge our assumptions.
Okay.
When faced with something new or unfamiliar, instead of dismissing it outright, ask yourself, what if there's more to this than meets the eye?
Okay.
What potential might be hidden beneath the surface?
It's like those junk drawer moments, right? You're about to toss out a pile of random stuff, and then you find a $20 bill or that missing earring you thought was gone forever.
Yes.
Suddenly the junk drawer doesn't seem so junky anymore.
Precisely. It's about training our minds to look beyond the obvious, to be open to possibility and surprise.
Right.
It's about embracing the idea that value often reveals itself in unexpected ways, Just like Alaska transformed from a frozen punchline to a strategic powerhouse.
It's like a real-life treasure hunt.
Yeah.
But instead of searching for gold doubloons, we're searching for hidden potential in ourselves, in our ideas, and in the world around us.
And that's what makes life so exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
The constant possibility of discovery, the thrill of uncovering something new and unexpected. Who knows what Alaska is waiting to be found just around the corner in your own life?
Speaking of discoveries, if our listeners are ready to unearth their own creative gold mines, I highly recommend checking out the book Poetry Master.
Great recommendation.
It's a practical and inspiring guide to help you tap into your inner poet, even if you think you have zero talent.
It's the perfect companion for anyone who wants to transform their writing from Seward's folly to a poetic masterpiece.
And remember, even if your first poems feel like a frozen wasteland of awkward rhymes and clunky metaphors, don't give up.
Yeah.
Keep digging, keep exploring, and you might just stumble upon a vein of pure creative gold.
Well said. And with that, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the Alaska Purchase and the surprising lessons it holds for us today.
It's been a wild ride full of historical intrigue, creative insights, and maybe even a few laughs along the way.
We hope you've enjoyed the journey as much as we have. You know, it's funny, isn't it?
What's that?
We're so focused on the here and now, the instant gratification, that we often miss the bigger picture, the potential that's simmering beneath the surface.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
Just like those folks who chuckled at Seward's icebox, we sometimes fail to see the forest for the frozen trees.
It's like ordering a pizza based on the picture on the box and being disappointed when it shows up looking like a sad, deflated balloon animal.
Exactly.
Sometimes you got to look beyond the flashy exterior to find the real deal.
We're so used to instant downloads and overnight shipping that we forget some of the most valuable things in life. Take time investment and a willingness to see beyond the immediate.
Right.
Seward knew Alaska wasn't going to magically transform overnight. He had a vision, a long-term strategy that extended far beyond his own lifetime.
So how do we apply this Seward mindset to our own lives?
Well,
Are we all supposed to go out and buy a frozen wasteland in hopes of striking gold?
I wouldn't recommend rushing to buy Arctic real estate just yet.
Okay, good to know.
But the key takeaway here is to cultivate that same sense of curiosity and vision that Seward had.
Okay.
When you encounter something new, something that maybe seems worthless at first glance, don't dismiss it right away.
Gotcha.
Ask yourself, what if there's more to this than I'm seeing? What's the potential here?
It's like those junk drawer moments, right? You're about to toss out a pile of random stuff and then you find a $20 bill or that missing earring you thought was gone forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Suddenly the junk drawer doesn't seem so junky anymore.
It's about training our minds to look beyond the obvious, to be open to possibility and surprise.
I like that.
It's about embracing the idea that value often reveals itself in unexpected ways, just like Alaska transformed from a frozen punchline to a strategic powerhouse.
That's a good point. It's like a real-life treasure hunt, except the treasure isn't buried gold. It's the potential within ourselves, our ideas, and the world around us.
And that's what makes this journey of discovery so exciting, isn't it?
Totally.
The thrill of uncovering something new, something valuable where others saw only emptiness. Who knows what Alaska is waiting to be found just around the corner in your own life?
And if you're feeling inspired to tap into your own potential, especially the creative kind, we highly recommend checking out the book Poetry Master, Poesycraft in 7 Taken.
It's a fantastic resource full of practical tips and techniques to help you unleash your inner wordsmith, even if you think you're poetically challenged.
Remember, folks, even if your first attempts at poetry feel like stumbling through a blizzard of awkward rhymes and mixed metaphors, don't give up. Keep writing, keep exploring, and who knows? You might just uncover your own creative goldmine.
Well said.
So until next time, keep your minds sharp, your curiosity peaked, and your eyes peeled for those hidden treasures that are lurking everywhere. And remember, sometimes the most valuable things in life are the ones that make you say, wait, what?
That's a great note to end on.
This is your host signing off. Peace out, poetry peeps.